Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, talking right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, searching for possible value on the baseball card Thursday, July 30th. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. You think we can find some value from this card?
I know we can.
You know we can. Have you had a profitable year at your site?
I've had a very, very profitable year, and I will say that this year there have been even fewer slumps than normal. I'm not going to say I never go in a slump. Of course I do, but this year it has been very steady and meticulous.
All right, well, I found some value for us in our last call where we covered Carlos Martinez, and, I mentioned that, he pitched in relief in that 18-inning game against the Mets, and he was a little shaky there, and he took the loss, and I thought he was going to bounce back in a big way, and he did. He's pitching really well in general. That last start was just vintage Martinez. 8 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts, just 93 pitches. Here he's going to be at home against Colorado. We know Colorado can get shut down when they go on the road, and I think that's going to happen again. Do we expect another big, huge start from Martinez?
And Martinez has had 11 consecutive quality starts. Again, St. Louis at Busch Stadium, you're not going to get fantastic value there, but right. I would say at the very least, it's be tough to fade him at this point. Now, whether you want to lay the big number, we're going to have to take a closer look. But you're right. If it's possible for somebody to be pitching under the radar in St. Louis, Carlos Martinez is doing that.
Yeah, we'll see how big that number is. If it's maybe 170, I'd actually be tempted to take it, and I'd also be thinking about the under. Maybe we'll see if we can get 7.5, but we'll see. But I expect a big start for Martinez. And then let's talk about Cole Hamels, right? What to make of him. 2 straight awful starts, and then a 13-strikeout no-hitter. Here he'll be, at home against a very weak Atlanta lineup, and normally, the general wisdom is that you want to fade a guy after he's thrown a no-hitter, but I don't know. Hard to take Atlanta in any situation as far as I'm concerned, and especially against a guy as strong as Hamels is in general. What you think about this matchup, Hamels against Shelby Miller? Maybe just an under, even though the total is probably going to be 6.5?
Yeah, and we should tell our viewers that we do record this a little bit in advance. I know there are a lot of people in Philadelphia think by the time this game starts, Cole Hamels will be wearing another uniform, and that's a possibility. But the Phillies, since the All-Star break, have been outstanding. So normally I do say go with a bad pitcher or go against a very good pitcher on a bad team, and that would clearly be Cole Hamels, except we'll see if the Phillies are still red hot by the time this game goes off, because the Phillies, since the All-Star break, have been great. Shelby Miller, he hasn't pitched terribly, but he hasn't pitched quite as well. He's actually had a few bumps in the road relative to last year. Like I said, he was as good as any pitcher for about the last calendar year, but he's had some imperfections as of late. But I would say that if this does turn out to be the pitching matchup, this may be a good opportunity to go with the Phillies.
Well, Joe Duffy not concerned with those 2 awful starts from Cole Hamels. I am concerned about the 11 awful starts that Alfredo Simon had, or however many they were, before he had a good start in his last one at Boston. Give him credit where credit is due. That was a nice start by Simon, but I don't think I'm a believer in him at all. And here he's on the road at Baltimore. That's a tough assignment. I just have to assume that he gets hit here at Baltimore, and Miguel Gonzalez has also gotten shelled in his last 2 home starts. So, if we see a total of 9 in this game, which I think is very possible, maybe the over is going to be a great bet. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I was saying on our last video that we did on Simone that generally when pitchers come up from the minors is when I do a quick read and research on them, so I'm not necessarily sure if it's a case where Detroit has no good prospects to bring up. But you're talking about the Detroit has been very, very patient with him still. I agree with you 100%, and this should be a very high-scoring game indeed, and it would only be the bullpens that could maybe save it, because not exactly a great pitching matchup.
Right, and I think we might see a 9. We'll see what the total is when that game comes out. And then Max Scherzer off of a bad start, but, he almost always bounces back when he has a bad start. And here he's going to be facing the very modest Miami lineup in a, 12 o'clock day game. I'm thinking that we see a very strong start from Scherzer, maybe an 8 or 9 inning shutout game. Herron on the other side is a decent vet, but Washington has some bats. I'm thinking maybe there's a big edge here in starting pitching for Washington. What do you think?
There certainly is, and Scherzer has rebounded from his 2 previous times where he gave up 5 runs. He came back and bounced back, winning both games with a 1.72 ERA, so I wouldn't worry about the Cy Young candidate getting a little rattled. But remember, Dan Herron, another one of those guys, A lot better at home than on the road, 2.83 in his 10 home starts compared to 4.16 on the road. So this should be a very low-scoring game.
Well, to sum up my leans for Thursday, July 30th, definitely looking for an over in Detroit, Baltimore, and definitely looking for strong starts from Scherzer and Carlos Martinez. What else would you like to bring to our attention from the card for Thursday, July 30th, Joe?
Well, not exactly an under-the-radar pitcher, but the Cubs' Jake Arrieta's last 7, 1.37 ERA. And Texas' Giovanni Gallardo has really struggled in his last 4 with a 6.52 ERA. Of course, you know, like I said, we already know that Arrieta is a good pitcher, and we already know that Gallardo is not necessarily a tremendous pitcher. So whether or not they're going to have enormous value remains to be seen. But there's a clear-cut pitcher uptrending and another one downtrending.
All right, so you expect a 5th straight struggling start from Gallardo, because he had 2 straight starts where he gave up 5 runs, but if you look over his peripherals, it's really been 4 straight starts where he struggled, 19 innings and 11 strikeouts, 15 walks. That's not going to get it done in the majors. You expect a 5th straight start roughly like that from Gallardo?
I would, yes, I definitely would. Like I said, I'm not big in the strikeouts, but walks are another thing. When a guy can't get the ball over the plate, that is a troubling sign. But, you know, the strikeouts, I think, can be overrated, because I like a guy that can get a lot of ground balls and get double plays, et cetera. But you know, his numbers are not all that impressive. So I would say I definitely have a check mark to go against him at this point.
Joe Duffy's final picks can be found at his website, everydayoffshoreinsiders.com. Thanks very much, Joe. Talk to you again very soon.